One of the viewers sent me a chart, and I just want to they short the yen here on multiple tickets on the daily chart with a stop up there, and it totally makes sense to sell in here. And the only I guess problem is that it depends how much patience you have to hit that target. Now that's an incredible ratio, and it's possible over time for that market to get down there, I'd say. But you always have to ask yourself, it's like a Dirty Harry question. How much patience do you have? 6 minutes? Because, if you look at the daily, you're getting out right now. If you were scalping that, if you sold this trap here, this very top, if you'd had placed sell limits here, that very top, and you captured that, your first logical target's going to be to get out here. So you'd already be out of the trade. A range trader would have left already. And because they know they can just sell it up here again, or they can just play this game, and they're content with that. Your target is really low, like way down. See where your target's at. So your target is right around these double tops, but your target is kind of you have to view the other guy's entry as your exit. So it's like a revolving door. You're getting out where ideally you're getting out where the crowd has the aha moment. And for the aha moment on this chart, it has to be here. You could get greedy and say, well, I'm going to come to here, but it has to be you have to see this. This is the last top that became a bottom. See that pullback? You're kind of pretty severely zoomed in here. Like this is the pullback into that triangle. That's where you want to have your orders. You want to put your orders in uncharted water to some degree. Of course, if you're selling up into this big hole being filled, you're getting your ass kicked all day long. But what I was talking about in that video, that weekly, was the node here, this congestion pocket, is going to be a range trader's dream 2 weeks ago when I talked about the fact that the weekly looked like parabolic, psychotically parabolic, like just ridiculous, right? And even this move here, when it comes down here and just it comes into this congestion zone, and people just pick that up like a fresh meal. I mean, this is uncharted water. You want to buy that. Always buying uncharted water. You always have to buy a piece of blank land, and then you build something on it. This is the city. They tear down the hood. They tear down the hood and they get a new thing, and they come back into so you can see the top bottom all day long there. It's just that the dynamics of the market don't allow for, like, the range traders just probably paid for a new Lamborghini here during this phase. And that went on for 20 days of ranging. So if they trap you up here, and this guy starts to sneak north, which it doesn't, you can go like this, you could go like this. You're gonna wait a long time to get paid here. So if I was in real money, I'd just be getting the fuck out right now. I'd be so out of that trade, and I'd just bank it, move on to another, if that's the pattern you like. Because if you're a pattern trader, it doesn't matter what you're trading. But if you're a scalper, you don't want to scalp the New Zealand to the euro, or euro New Zealand pair. But the market is like, if you cash out here and you really like to trade, then why don't you just get in on the last known bottom? Put a sell limit here and load up going the other way. If it's really going down, it'll come back to, say, here, and then it starts to march down, or even comes back into the floor. See how this bottom becomes a top here, but somebody asked me about the you can't just if you sell here, you're right for a little bit, but it's just a scalp. You have to realize you can't just like here's a beautiful bottom becomes top, double top becomes a bottom, but if you say, well, I'm going to sell this bottom, okay, when it comes back up here, I'm going to sell that bottom. Realize that if it's really about this big trap means more, that this is a shoulder, head, shoulder, and you're going to try to sell into the shoulder thinking it's just nothing going to be like this, just have stops in there so you don't blow up the account. Because after it crushes through and comes back, this is why it goes up from here. Because the people that did that same strategy are like, oh, I see. We're going the other way. So the aha moment is trend line break. Sellers come back to a top bottom 4 hour. And this is a trend. This is Akinashi smooth with like dual Akinashis behind this. But in the end, it's about this zigzaggy line. So it's just like a built-in, it's a moving average background. So you're just, instead of having a, but I would be cashed out. In fact, I'd be scalping long right now. If I was in that trade where I sold that trap up here and this trap here, see, this is what everybody's, it's the big triangle, everybody's big wedge, everybody's like, yeah, hey, wow, look at, and then look out, because all the money management systems kick in here, fill up the order bank, and sellers are supposed to come in here, but they don't. Well, they do, right? But the scalpers come in there. So on a 4 hour chart, if you really want to get the most, the bang for your buck, you get double bottom here, top become a bottom failure, becomes the pivot for people to go the other way. Because if it's really a hedge fund, don't they just unload the books and go the other way? Here's a double bottom before the blast off. But you have to be a contrarian to some degree here, where you're thinking about, this is going to end. This is going to end sometime. As soon as the color switches, it's too late to get in. You had to get in on the structure. You had to get in on the mountaintops. And you have to approximate that there might be 5 mountaintops or 2. But you usually don't see a top like this go on for more than, if the market could do this, would be amazing. I don't think I've ever seen. So there is a limitation. Here is a zigzag, zigzag, zig. If you just told somebody, what does a zigzag look like to you? Could you just circle the zigzags for me? I'd love to do a job. Okay, see those zigzags? Please place me some elements there. Can it be more stupid? It's if you ever lost money trading because you were unaware of the volatility, I think that's the only reason anybody ever loses money, because everybody can be right about the direction, but if their stop's too tight or too wide and there's not enough money in the account, but this isn't the best color lines for this. It's making me crazy there. But you got to figure, how much is your patience level? And look at this. In the end, your patience are key. Look we're sitting right on this top, so you got to be getting the fuck out. I'm saying only for a person that doesn't have I would have to suspect. And see, here's another top major pivot, was double tagged. You had to get out and go along there. In fact, I don't know how long this guy's been in this trade. The guy sent me this chart. But I don't know when he got into these other trades, but if you think about the amount of money you could have made if you just got in and out, in and out, in and out. Now, I realize that if you can't babysit the market, or you're just hell-bent on some target, and it's tough to be hell-bent on a target, because what if it doesn't work out? So you have to have multiple targets, you have to have multiple stops, and if you have the time for it, you got multiple pairs. But if you're just swing trading, you got all the swing traders don't have to even ever pull the trigger because, well, they shouldn't be, because swing traders have to realize that they're going to get in a zone anyways. So just place a bunch of orders in there. I'm sure that I just can't imagine that these banks have some guy pulling the trigger on. We can all see when the market's going to blast off. So here's the demo running. The demo's up here. So I'm buying this British pound for the last retest. It's like the last waltz. So I really should have dumped out everything here on the top of the on the top of this. And this is the trap. So right to here was the exit. Now I could have gone short there for a scalp, but since the whole thing's commingled, this is another problem, is that if you commingle all these currencies on one account, that to take the but I could actually just cleared off all the profits up here, and everything was climaxing except the pound. The pound is out of phase with, but the pound is in its it's in its accumulation phase here. But I'm willing to buy it lower on uncharted water today, and these are pullbacks, and some of these are set to 1 hour. So I'll put a favorites list up here. I'm running this is like the 1 hour scalp, and this is the 6 hour. This is like a big winning ticket, looking to make 50 pips, and this is looking to make 28 pips, so 12 pip stops. So this is a scalp, 16 pip range. Now, if you don't delete these arrows, as time marches on, the 1 hours would delete, and you can see that right here you'd want to buy for the next hour, right at this bottom, because if they can push that down and make a new low, you'd buy the new low for a scalp. If we're going up in the end here, then you want to buy right there where everybody's stop is, and here for a 16 pip range, starting right at the round number. Here I'd put it right there. So you have to be aware of how many orders you put in here. And then I would put this giant plunge order here in case the British pound comes down. My exits need to be pretty much scalp orientated, because I don't want to like when it come down here, I want to get in on that bank and get out. Because if I was sleeping right now, so if you would have dumped everything on this account at about but it was only $400 margin at that point. And knowing how the market is, here was a prime opportunity to get in on this fresh, uncharted 8 hours ledge here. And this was the trap here. So there was a lot of great 25 pip winners, real easy money here. If you don't mind all this, it looks really bad, but you just had to put really precise orders in at this time. After that big smash down, the range phase means that you have to put a sell limit here. You have a crop of sell limits here that keep getting tagged, and a crop of buy limits here, and you could literally hedge it. You didn't have to actually get out of too much of that. But if you took off, if you only scalped to the fair value, the middle of the road here, you just kept dumping there, you could have traded from the edges to the middle all day. You didn't even have to trade during this. You just wait for them to pick you up on the edge 4 times and pick you up on the edge 4 times, and you dump it here. Your stops are going to be like that. So it's edge to the middle. That'd be a great EA to run, but the EA would freak out when it saw this. It tried to trade that, but once you get a first low, the nice thing is about this system I'm running, you don't have to wait. Okay, you know what's going on immediately. Like when this closes up here, this is a bottom. So is this. So you know the bottom area. It's the wick. Okay. So if you really are a candle trader, it's body to wick. It's all about the body to the wick. That's volatility. This is a triangle, a flag. You fill in the blank. So here it's, and anytime it's, but the one thing you can't see here is that on a candle you can't see is that you can't see the little baby double bottom. This is like a double doji. So if we clear this, if sellers don't come in that, so we're looking forward from that. Also realizing that we just scalped here and our exit was here. So the scalpers were getting out. They trade the wick. The swing traders trade this, or the range traders trade probably back to the middle. And the swing traders hold through this whole motherfucker till it goes back up, I suppose. Let's go back to the real time chart. And yeah, that's where this is at. I'm chopped off here. My video's chopped on the bottom. But yeah, it doesn't matter. We don't need to look at the tick chart here. But so I could just build my favorites list here. Here's one that maybe the guy that's running the euro. Now, if you're running that yen trade, you'd also want to have the buy limits down there. Just because you're short doesn't mean you can't go long. So you have to be able to see it in both directions. I think you got to be a little bipolar going into this. That'd be a good place to shop for people to run the system. Go to the psych ward. Hand them a tablet. So this is the 4-hour chart. Double bottom. They could still smash it down. So all the exits were the same here. And all the scalps are the same. These are the easy scalps. Selling the very tippy top. Very top. But now you're up in the trade. Now what? Can the bears hold it down here? Or is this nothing more than a pullback and an uptrend? And time to go up. And this will be the laggard. And when this thing, if it could go down and make a 25 pip spike and come back, if you start buying from here down and your stop's here and you're cashing out here, then that'd be a great, fantastic trade. Well, that's what I'm planning on. So it's definitely, the market never moves as far as you want it to move while you're in it in that direction. So that's, if you don't think, like, who puts that trade on not hoping that it hits their target? So I guess if you can let go of your target idea and your stop idea, or that you're risking money, or it's important to not lose cash as opposed to pips. And people talk about how many pips you make, but that's about, I guess, building a pip machine. Like if you had something that could just make a bunch of pips, then you'd say, oh, well, let's just turn on the faucet and just load this thing with money and see what we can do. But yeah, it's the markets can just take so long to complete certain patterns. So you know, this is why if you have a range trading strategy, you can make money while waiting for the trend to or the swing to start. So you're either going to the accumulation or distribution phase before the retracement, or are you waiting for the reaccumulation for another markup or markdown? So the trend trader is stuck in a wave 4 or a wave 2, just like the swing trader. The swing trader's not making money unless he's trading the micro swings. So that's why the fractal time frame is important. But then, of course, once you go there, you can ask yourself, well, how thin can I slice it? When you go down to a 5-minute chart, you gotta be on the you have your finger on the trigger literally, and you're really like a drive-through restaurant. Very short menu. You're looking to make maybe 20 pips, 50 if you're lucky. You got 4 hotkeys in your hand. You got a risk 4 to make 8. This looks like a 4 to make 8 trade. This one looks like a risk 12 to make 24. This one looks like a 8 to make 16, and you have to just be hitting it, because in the next few seconds the whole world could change. Here it was coming into London Open here. They're gonna dollar's gonna try to come back against New Zealand and Australia here, but this is a buying opportunity for me. I'm gonna buy this. The trick is to find the right sizing. So here's a daily ticket. I could put this here all day. I definitely want to buy this ledge down here, right there, a 3K. And this one too. I want to buy where they're going to crush people, and where the trend, if you trade Andrew's pitchfork, it doesn't take rocket scientists to find the middle tine. So you're just going to run right up the middle here. Just put a line up there. A lot better than a moving average, at least. You can find the rollover. So you're going to buy here. What can you do? You got this top. They should re-tag that. If we're really, really going up, they're going to smash it back first. They got to find somebody to ride with them. And when I say they, I don't know who. I don't know. This whole idea that, well, the banks are moving them. Well, why wouldn't they just fucking move it in their direction and cash in? If the banks are trading against banks, just like people trade against people. It's nonsensical. It's black. It's just fucking tinfoil hat shit. Makes it into Forex too. What are you gonna do? But these things are so similar. If all you did was trade these two currencies, for God's sakes, it's a no-brainer. One guy's about an hour behind the other guy as far as, and the patterns are the same. Like here's your center thread. Right? At least here's where you're at now. Are you near an important, maybe you're kind of close. And here's the top bottom thing. Okay, so let's take a look at the, still waiting for the top of the hour to come, but I'm just going to say I just put a new order on my favorites list here. Now this is inside the that latest version I uploaded, and what's going on here is inside this ticket is 5K, and we're set at 3 pips apart, all the way to 12 pips, and we have a 10 pip stop. We're looking to make 20 pips, which isn't quite accurate with the spread and all that nonsense, but the cursor tip starts the first ticket and then 3 pips apart. Essentially, you have a master stop in some regards here mathematically. It's 8 pips. And 8 pips before the whole bank's blown out. So if you're going to buy here, at the very top one, you have a 20 pip stop. I'm sorry. Stop losses. You're going to get, this is not the stop. But if that was the stop. No, the stop is here first. So you're going to get stopped out of each of these with the market's going to, the account's going to go into no tickets as you get stopped out of this, so it's more like a one of those things where it's a barrier. You're hitting these barriers and you're smacking some over. You don't maybe end up with just two of these guys remaining, but you'll make it back if you, you're only getting up. So maybe the ratio you would change here, but that's a whole nother issue. But the way it stands right now, it's like this. And then it lasts for an hour. So it's really not that traumatic of a trade. As far as the, but it's good in the sense that if they smack this down in the next hour, so by 4 o'clock, I don't know if there's news coming out or what, but if I put it right here at the round number, and I come back here, if I really wanted to buy deeper without going to another script, I put that same thing. There's a 10K now. And maybe we only fell on a couple of those. I'll put the same ticket across the board here. On everything I see, I'll buy new lows for the next hour. And here I want to get in right below the, where they might take it all the way back to here, or I could wrap it around that price. Like here's the doji. Here's the pivot right now. They rejected that, was supposed to be the low inside the high. And so if we buy right here and a little bit below, and I always put it really below, because if I'm buying this top and I'm like, okay, but you know what? They're going to crush it and they're going to hold it. And then there'll be scalps built into that. This is 20 pips from here to here. So my target's 20 with a 10 stop. And if you're going to size the grid to your game plan. So here I would say, well, this is 5 pip stops, and on the euro it's possible 5 pip stops, same coverage area, tighter stops, and less, only looking to make 10 pips. What if this thing came zooming down in here and just plowed through that and then popped out on the 4-hour chart right now? So next hour I'm going to buy like crazy down here for the scalps. So I just put all the scalps in first. And down here, if we could smash down there in 1 hour, that's a great trade. So hopefully I picked up some orders here. You want to get, have the market come into your sweet spot. Because if, you can't, that's the problem with buying at the market, is that you really have to go with the clock. So at 3 a.m. I would buy at the market the New Zealand dollar. So I could just lock in the bear trap right now. Like you're in a bear trap, I'll put one on. But what if they keep on digging it deeper? And this is not, it's not going to turn on a dime when you pull the trigger. Now, you could scalp it at the close of the hour. You don't have to go to the 1 hour chart to see that right now they've stopped out all the bulls, and the money management, it's just an automatic phenomena. It happens naturally because of this the way it is. People have, the orders are stacked up. It's nobody's making that happen. It's pre-laid ground. It's pre-laid risk. Somebody has orders in there. Well, people just whatever. Still not going to understand this big boy concept. It's like all boys matter. Big boys. Oh, geez. This is so funny, man. It's just the whole... nothing's immune from the current prevailing us against them story. Tribalistic. But see how jagged this currency is compared to this currency? New Zealand's just insane. So you can see the sellers were supposed to come in there. They're supposed to come in there. So swing traders delight, range traders delight. This looks like swing trading to me. I'd say I would range trade that, swing, range trade it, swing, range trade it. It'd make people crazy thinking. I mean, the trend traders are certainly the most punished, and that's all you hear. I mean, trend's your friend. I think I figured the trend wasn't my friend the first time I lost $2,000. I said, you know what, the trend's not my friend. The friends are, even the friends that never pay you back money, at least you get some entertainment value out of their destruction to some degree. Like, look at this guy. Damn. And when when they drive it off a cliff, you're thinking, I'm glad I didn't take that trade. They drive it right off a cliff. Amazing. The nicest car in the world. I just drove that off a cliff. Ruh-roh. I'm going to go for another haul, and I just put more buy limits on the apex of this Gartley alert. And we're coming right into this fourth touch. If this is a bear trap, I'm buying it. And then the exit's going to be all the way into this last floor right there with the round. And one of the take profits is some psycho greedy one way up here, which is ridiculous. I would just get out. In fact, there's a 20 pip window here that I would just, I'll be getting out even before this. So the conservative exit is to just get on this 40 pip sweep or 25 pip sweep and just dump. Then come back with limits again. And so how, you know, this is kind of this could end up being a giant swing trade if you waited through the whole drama to here and then it finally cuts up and goes up. But for the moment, it's just a scalp. Should be getting out of something. As it comes ripping back out of that severe markdown. But this on the pullback into this top, becoming a bottom at the round. So put a bunch of scalpers in there. So this time I put more scalpers in. Like just looking to make 20 pips. Like this, I had a 1 hour grid in there, but I don't know if it ever filled. Same here. Just doing the 12 pip range. There's a ticket, you know, every 2 pips. Every 2 pips there's a ticket. But that's only 1 hour. If that lasted for 2 hours, it'd be a whole different situation. I'd probably put a little deeper. Here's the 2 hour version, but this is a 4 pip. Like this is a real scalper. This is a 13 pip stop, which is like a 10 pip stop. So we're back to the floor. The scalpers are getting out on the British pound right now. They're totally dumping. So right here, they just got out. So if you're scalping, you're getting out right now. Now you could go rocketing down, or you could just sit here and you just wanted to scalp the hammer if possible. So if this is a scalping account, I just dump right now and then reload with the same strategy, expecting another dip or even lower, put it below because at the top of the hour, you know, it's kind of the determiner in a way, but 5 o'clock will be the update of this 4 hour chart. And the more you zoom out, the better it looks like a buy. Certainly if you zoom out like this, you got to believe that's pretty oversold. It's trapped down in you're all the way down in the bilges. This is like insane, right? And but the real low is way back here, the lowest low. So you really come into this scalper's trap, anything in here is fair game, and or it's just going to be that's it, because right now you're below this. If you take that area there, they've trapped below that. So, but the scalpers just got out, so you can see it on the 5-minute. Why they have to bail there? They got a triple bottom on the 5-minute, and getting the hell out of something there. Because if that doesn't hold, then we would go a little sideways here. And if you miss the move and you still think it's bullish, you put your buy limit here now. So you cash out everything and come in with a buy limit here. So if that lasts for 1 hour, maybe wrap it around it like this. Certainly could go and retest that whole area. But if you're just trading singles, a single drop, you just put it right at the top of here, maybe one here, a little more precision. But it looks like it could engulf. It looks like it could go after this, challenge this, constantly banging on the 25. This would be the trend line to break, the closest you could get on some kind of trend line. So we got to clear the next place people would be getting out is this internal low right here, but that's right up on the trend line. So definitely a lot of people would have to say that it's going to be the resistance pocket. But this is all commingled, this whole account, so it's hard to treat it like a scalp, even though you can see you got to be getting out of something here, hopefully, or you could come in here and manually take off a winning ticket. Then you're talking about a whole lot of work, and like how you chase down, how much time does it take to chase down that ticket? And does it really matter if you're trying to, in this situation, I'm just trying to sell the dollar, I guess, but my target should be where the people that are going to buy the dollar are coming in. So it's not like you could buy it. If you're shorting it, you're buying it back. So everybody's buying and selling. There's no, are you long or you short? Because if you're short, it's like, well, what time frame are you on? Because the next moment, it could be a worse or a better price. So that's kind of a paradox or a little problem, because ultimately, if the market turns, the people that are on one side, that should be their target. They shouldn't have targets that are going to take another 20 if you're time target. If you're looking to make in one day something that you may have to wait 20 days to see that price again, to see that exit door again. So knowing that you're just walking through a building with constantly changing, say you go into a building and they rebuild it around you every 4 hours. When you go to leave the building, you have to take a different path because they added on. So as the market progresses, it's adding on levels. And now maybe it's an 18-story building. And they redid the stairway like the path of the market, which is up and down, just really not coherent. Like an Escher stairway. So that you can't tell where the fuck you are in the... When you switch time frames, you might as well be on that going up the down staircase. Problem is flipping that upside down. But if you can see that, where do you think these people are on that are like, if the market's moving in a particular direction, well, where's the jumping off point? So you're either going to, if you do want to make money all day, you're going to have to say, well, I'll take a counter trend trade, which could be, just momentum. Anytime you do that, I suppose momentum. It's going up, but you can see, hey, it's got to take a breath. I can make money on when it takes a breath. I can make money when I can see that it's done resting and it's about to make a run. But we all like to make as many pips as possible in the shortest amount of time, I would think. That's certainly my goal, is to try to scalp half of the market and, let some of this stuff drift. But I can't imagine sitting in a giant position and drifting, because all it has to do is go against you in a flash crash or a spike, and then it's lights out. I was running a 15-second chart yesterday with a volume. That was interesting. Although to get the software to run was like, let's see if I can try to get it to run again. Watching the volume go up and down. It's like being at a party. It's like being on the floor trader. Watching it constantly update on a 15-second chart was a little bit exciting. So here we're getting the challenging this trend line on the 5-minute British pound right now. So if we can go sweeping out and blow out these tops, hit here, everybody's going to want to cash out there. I'm certainly ready to cash out there. So I'm getting out of that right now, just on predetermined exits. And if I get the same thing in New Zealand, I put some scalps in there, just looking to make 10, 20 pips. So I'm trying to get a breakfast blend set up on this account so that you're scalping it and you can see the bigger picture. And sometimes the scalps, if you can get out of half of your margin by the time the scalp plays out, then you could always add with this. You could let it float and just say, hey, that's like, you've already paid the exposure of the swing trade. And if you don't put any new orders in there, you know that your stops are so far away, so you don't go and jump back in the market or even try to don't touch it, because if you still got the pendings down there, they could take it all the way down there again, and you know that even if you start getting stopped out, you'll pick up. You can't really, it's very difficult to gauge the exact bounce rate of the end of a bounce. So you have to take something off the table, and then you might get refilled on something. But you're not trading the market, you're just trading around it. You're setting up roadblocks that are very far away. And those are your orders. Now, if you can hit a button to do that, and there's a way to do that across the board, just hit a button. You do much better than any EA in the planet, because you just sit there and look at the charts and say, oh, that thing's moving in a 600 pip a day range or a week range, and just throw in just a lousy, dumbass blind grid. I mean, you'd be surprised. You could throw a grid out there without any. It's the spacing. It's how much you canvassing the area. The selling stuff. They used to call it phone canvassers. I don't know if they still do that, but they would just set people out to just go out and hit every door and just 100 tries, 20 hits. It doesn't matter. They don't count the 80s as a loss. It's just the cost of doing business. So they just run that like that. You could have a 20% hit rate and you're just killing it. If you tighten up your stop to 5 pips, 3 pips, you're getting your ass kicked. But if you're looking to make 100 pips with a 3-pip stop, yeah, 20% of the time you make it back. I don't know I'm not going to break out the calculator for that, because I guess psychologically you don't want to get just because you've got a face made out of titanium, you don't want to get punched in the face all day, because it's distracting. It's annoying to have to keep thinking about, well, I didn't make any money this morning or something. I don't know. I guess if you're treating it like a real job, and how much money can you make per week and all that stuff, and but it's a crazy schedule. 4-hour chart's kind of obvious what's going on, but if you're on that 1-hour chart, it's a lot to manage psychologically. There's a lot more tops become bottoms, bottoms become tops. I'm talking about for long-term pending orders, but if you're going to sit here in the morning and scalp it, you could have just made 10 easy pips on this, about 15 easy pips on this British pound trap. Just be done. Same thing on this one here, the same pattern. They come down here, take out the low of the day, and then people are jumping on there, and the seller should come in right now, because now you're up against the last known. Yeah, we fell all the way back to this whole area here. So definitely your first buy is the bottom of that wick, and you just buy all the way down. So I've set orders all the way down, so it's just tons of dry powder. You definitely need tons of dry powder to play this game. It takes very little. You just want to lay an overkill amount of orders over a area. Just cover an area. The precision that. Okay, it looks like looks like we could go after this now. After this ledge. So I'm already getting out of something. See my margin going down. And then I can reload. So if we're going to get another repeat, a lot of repeats, a lot of triples and quadruples and double bottoms. There's quintuple bottoms and tops. Not as common. There's single tops and single bottoms. So this is a single bottom on the other time frame. So you just get a single bottom out of this. Double bottom on the 15, single on the half hour. So it's very easy to see. Triple on here. Geez, if you slice the time in half, you get a double. Now you got a single bottom. So would you buy a single bottom? Why not? So many restrictions. I like the guys that have the... well, what we're waiting for here is after I get this signal and our RSI meets the qualifier of the stochastics, and then what I have to do then is I'm looking for an engulfing candle. And I'm going to sell about right... I like when they say